I'll be truthful with everybody. I've been wrong for 3 years straight, right? I joke about it all the time. When 2020 happened, COVID happened, we sold 14 properties in a matter of 3 months mid-renovation.
Wow.
We were on the wrong side of the fence on that one. But there was a 6-month window where it was really sketchy and things were not selling properly, and stuff was selling for really low dollar amounts and everybody was scared. And then the switch flipped there and it was on like gangbusters for the next 3 years, right? And I've been back and forth. I've flip-flopped on it. I'm finally at the point where I'm going to stop guessing. I'm going to listen to my old mentor, Charles Roberts, and going, you can't time this shit. Like, he's been in the business since the 70s. And he's like, ask me how many times I've been right or wrong. He's like, it doesn't, and historically we've gone up by 6% every single year in the Denver market for the last 75 years. So ask me how many times I've been wrong about the market crashing. Every single time. Right. And so, in 2024, and I'd love to hear your take on it, because you see it from the lending side. I see it from the buyer's perspective, the seller's perspective, which are just very few and far between. Everybody's scratching and clawing for any seller right now, but yet stuff is sitting on the market for 4 to 12 weeks, potentially, right? And then on the buy side, we've got buyers who are scared, and all they ask us about is what the market's going to do. But I'm in with your camp a little bit. I'm being optimistic, but what do you say to all the people out there who are saying we're going to experience a crash worse than 2008, inventory levels are going to double. Oh, Germany's crashing, so therefore we're next. Like, I don't have no idea what Germany's real estate market is like. So how does that affect us? And what's your outlook on 2024 inventory, buyers, sellers, interest rates? What are they doing? Give us your crystal ball. You might be 50% wrong answer.
Yep. Well, these are the $1 million questions, right?
Yep.
And no, not even the great Case and Shiller, right? From the Case-Shiller index can accurately historically predict mortgage rates, right? So I think it's foolish to base an investment thesis on what the Federal Reserve is going to do. I think that's madness, right? I think you should base everything on what you can control, right? Now, real estate is a very slow moving market. You don't have a real estate crash like you have a stock market crash. It doesn't happen in a day. So if you take 2008, for example, that slow decline took 4 years to bottom out. The bottom, if it started in 2008, the bottom hit in 2012. Now we've got buddies who have bought in 2012, and all of the honest ones will go, I got lucky, right? Now, some of us bought in 2010 and some of us bought in 2014. It's all still good, if you can get close to the bottom, but everybody needs to just control what they can control.
Yeah.
Right. You're not going to control rates. You're not going to control inventory. You can control your discipline. You can control your emotions. I've talked about this with folks on LinkedIn. It's madness to base an investment thesis on what the Federal Reserve is going to do. And guys far smarter than me won't do that. In terms of inventory in Denver, it's still low and it will continue to be low, right? They just can't build this fast enough. It's still a great place to live. People are still moving here. As people from out of state come to you and you show them, the ins and outs of Colorado. And so the inventory will stay low, even with all the cranes. Now there's far less cranes, as you know, but there's still cranes out there. But what are the cranes building, right? If they're building multifamily, they're building B+ or A+ luxury, apartments. They're not building workforce housing. They're not building affordable condos or, townhomes that you can get into for $350,000. They don't build that stuff anymore. It doesn't make sense. The fixed costs necessary, the water taps and hooking up to utilities and all that, they just push developers. They push developers to develop A-class properties. All the money's in developing nice stuff. Now there's, there's opportunity zones and there's some niche products where you can develop Section 8 housing for an example, but that's a real small sliver of the market. So inventory remains low, in my humble opinion. Demand is still high because we live in an incredible place. The weather's amazing. It's just a great place to live.
Yeah.
Interest rates are not going to shoot up, nor are they going to dive down. I always think that waiting is a bad idea. Always. So I've bought deals at quote unquote peak of markets. And as long as you hold them, you're going to be just fine. Right.
We were thinking peaks. I mean, back, I can remember 2015, 2016, handful of years after I got into the market, I think Robert Kiyosaki, started to write all of his books on the market crashing, right? This is the stuff that gets the attention. The world's going to burn. Everyone's dying. And meanwhile, we have some of the lowest crime rates and the best, living that we've ever had in recorded history. But yet that's what gets clicks. If you would have listened to him back in 2015, like you would have missed out on 150% appreciation.
Right.
Literally, at least in the Denver market, right? We're a fast moving, high appreciation state in general. And just the living standard here is so extremely high. People are always wanting to come here. And I'm in the same boat with you. I don't see where this inventory comes from. Home builders all stopped in 2008, 2009. What happens in 2014? Because it takes 12 to 24 months just to get your development off the ground and going. And then it's another 12 to 24 months to build and another year or two to finish. So these projects are 5 to 6 years in delay. And we saw that the last couple of years, permits were down by 30%. So what's going to happen in another couple of years? Like supply and demand controls itself. And I just don't see where a flood of inventory is going to come from to create this surplus to where everything's dropping 15, 20, 30%.
I don't see it either. I can't imagine that happening.